Squad, welcome back to InhaleGamesHQ. You could call me COMM, and today we're back with some Apex facts, everything you need to know for the next update and collection event to hit us this season of Resurrection, and that is the Harbingers Collection Event. This will be running from September 19th to October 3rd, and brings with it an LTM we've never seen before, Living Skull Trios. This will run the duration of the event and will transform trios into even more of a madhouse where you can loot these rev skulls around the map and then throw them at your enemy, and they'll actually track and then detonate massive damage on impact. Just note, you can shoot them down before they get a chance to do so, so keep your heads on a swivel and make sure not to get got. But World's Edge has also been shrouded in darkness to add to the spook with some POI updates. This of course is a collection event though, so 24 Harbinger collectibles, and I don't know if I'm easy or these just darker themed cosmetics and just anything with purple is just an auto win, but looking pretty cool, most notably this Bangalore one. But talking about auto wins, if you do collect them all, Fusey gets his Heirloom, and boy, as a musician, absolutely love it. W for me, but let me know what you think down below. Now, if you can't purchase all the collectibles, there will be our free reward track with 1,400 points available per day to earn badges, some sprays, stars, charms, and a Mad Maggie skin. The shop will also be on rotation throughout the event, so feel free to pause and note anything you might want, because we do have a few rotations, September 19th to 22nd, 22nd to 26th, the 26th to 29th, and then the 29th to the 3rd, wrapping up the event. We do, however, have some patch notes, so we're going to dive beneath the surface, and everything is timestamped down below for your viewing pleasure. Feel free to just jump around or to the end with Squad. Continuing on with the balance updates, we have the mid-season kind of change to the weapon crafting rotation. The 30-30 repeater enters the crafter, and the RE45 with hammer point rounds enters the crafter, bringing the Mozambique and Nemesis back to the floor. They've also lowered the auto player difficulty in orientation matches, and redistributed the pockets of high tier armor within POIs. For weapons, the Nemesis AR, seeing as it's been brought back to the floor, they have reduced the damage to 16, it was 17, and the ADS recoil has been increased. For Legends, we also have some changes. Fuse, his knuckle cluster, tactical deployment speed has been increased. For Horizon, the grav lift, weapon accuracy decreased while on the lift, so more spread. The vertical lift speed has been reduced by 20%, and the hover time at the top of the lift reduced to just 0.5 seconds. For Rampart, for amped cover, placement time reduced to 2 seconds, and Rampart now remains in placement mode after deploying a wall. Revenant may be reborn a little bit too powerful this season, so you're going to see some changes here. Looking at his Forged Shadows, they've reduced the time extension from Nox to 5 seconds, was 10, and extra damage to the Shroud will bleed through to Revenant if it breaks. The Shadow Pounce, though, however, has been slightly increased on the angle compensation when you're looking at the ground, so hopefully you should be able to get a decent jump regardless. Moving on to ranked changes, though, there was a hot fix they put in September 6th that guaranteed a percent per kill elimination bonus has been raised across all skill levels, and the point disparity between teammates of vastly different skills has been reduced. Moving on to our bug fixes, the Digi threat now correctly highlights enemies through close proximity multi-layered FX. Gold Magazine and Gold Bolt now work after being killed by a dummy. Level 1 accounts will no longer appear as champions in pubs. Some audio fixes here. Certain weapon sounds, such as Rampart's mounted turret motor, will now stop upon match end. Finishers should no longer have doubled up or missing audio. Weapon draw audio now plays correctly when swapping legends in the firing range. A couple fixes to Olympus here. The Revenant Heirloom no longer changes color back to its original color when leaving the Fight Night ring, and they've resolved endless skydiving after flying off the map on a Trident. A couple fixes for the PC DX12, they've resolved incorrect cursor location when using the controller in certain resolutions, and they've restored game window positioning when game settings are reset. Some legend fixes as well here. We see Ash floating point emote no longer has incorrect sound. Bloodhound's piercing plasma no longer occasionally turns enemies invisible. Crypto will now get kicked out of his drone when silenced. The fixed Mirage restored Heirloom, allowing players to switch weapons without breaking cloaking after a revive. Seer's focus of attention no longer interrupts other highlight items and abilities. Vantage's Spotter's Lens restored in the firing range. Valkyrie's Bladed Descent no longer stutters visually. And Wraith no longer gets stuck when meleeed while using Into the Light finisher. Again, we see a few bug fixes for Revenant here, so looking at his forged shadows, damage to the Shroud now contributes to damage stats and Evo points. Friendly Arc Stars and Knuckle Clusters no longer stick to the Shroud. If the Shroud is hit by Mad Maggie, it should now still properly highlight. Vantage's Sniper's Mark now applies when hit to the Shroud, and Stun effects now apply when his ultimate is active. He will no longer get stuck in Shadow Pounce when activating his ability before landing from the dropship. They resolved animation cancelling when using Shadow Pounce that allowed you to draw weapons early. They restored Highlight from Assassin's Instinct, showing up in cases where enemies are visible but partially obstructed, and they stopped Shadow Pounce automatically deploying after climbing a ledge. Moving on to our last list, the quality of life improvements. Bloodhound can see Revenant's Forged Shadows activation point. In the firing range, the supply boxes will now sort weapons by type for easy access. Loba's Market now sorts weapons by type as well for easy access. Improvements to how our audio engine dispatches and prioritizes audio voices. Some more accurate shadow rendering for legends and weapons in game menus. And for the PC DX12 here, they've implemented a new RHI, a rendering hardware interface. But squad, that does wrap up our patch notes. That also does wrap it up here for everything you need to know about the event. Looking forward to trying out the new game mode, maybe try to get a skull only win. So for more videos like this one, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you did learn something new here today, drop it a like. But as always, I just appreciate you for being here, so stay safe, stay gaming, and I'll see you in the next one.
Let's go.
Comms out.
Woo.
GG's, bro.
Oh, GG's.
Keeping their options like limited, like not playing too passively, so what, you know, they could just engage or get around us. Like we kept it that close so that they had to keep engaging. Huge plays, dude.